Yes, indeed, y'all. Yes, indeed. Welcome to UDR Productions. Please like, subscribe, and share. It doesn't cost you nothing to subscribe, so we can keep bringing you guys all this good content from prayer to streets. UDR Productions. Let's go and let's get it.
Yes, yes indeed, y'all. You are now watching the MVP, most valuable, poetically correct show.
What's up? Good evening. What's happening, y'all? Yeah, man. We live here in Murphy's Law. Shout out to my man, Brother Hawk. Shout out to my man Earl. Shout out to the whole staff. If you guys want some seafood, fine wine, roster pasta, Murphy's Law's the spot. Folks, we're just going to have a wonderful time, but before we get started, I just want to always, first and foremost, give all the honor and glory to my mighty God, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you, Lord, for this time, for us getting together, just having fun once more time, and just enjoying this whole scenery. I want to introduce my man that's right next to me. My man, introduce always, B.
You guys already know jeerz in the building. You know what we do.
Yeah, you got jeerz, you got NY, we repping the tri-state.
We out here,
listen, man. Yeah, we out here. Listen, I want to get into a conversation, and you and I will start talking about that, but I want to make this on the air, because we got to really, like, you know, really keep it 100. We really got into it.
That's crazy.
Not fighting, not arguing. Now, I'm not talking about getting into, like, I'm talking about getting into, like, for, like, discussion, for, like, something to facilitate, to talk about. And I want to start by saying this, that the day before yesterday, I got a chance to, I saw something on News 12 about a single mother in Bridgeport, and she has a 15-year-old son who reportedly stated that her son beats her up. And I'm saying, hold up, let me clear my eyes, let me just make sure I ain't got no earwax in my ears, let me hear that one more time. And I'm listening to that segment, and you're hearing the mother saying, without showing her face, because her face was not being displayed because of shame, guilt, embarrassment, and so forth.
She want to keep it sensitive.
Keep it sensitive and keep it discreet in that regard. But she said, my 15-year-old boy beats me up. Now, I'm going to tell you what I thought about that. I'm old school. This is how I was raised. My mom said to me, if you even had that thought in your mind, I'm gonna beat you up. Meaning I'm gonna whip your ass. Because that's unacceptable.
That's straight up.
That's straight talk right, that's real talk right there. If you even had that thought in your mind that you're gonna even have that notion,
you're gonna raise your hand to
you're gonna raise your hand, just the thought, it's a wrap for you.
You should raise your hand to no adult.
Absolutely. So
not your mother.
Your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt, any adult figure there that's trying to be influencing your life. So I wanna ask you, jeerz, start from this conversation. What are your thoughts about that? And let's kick the conversation from that point on.
Well, point blank, that's just crazy. There ain't no way in hell any of my children gonna raise their hand at me or their mothers. Like, you done lost your mind. Like, don't even talk back to me, let alone raise your hand. You are the child. You're supposed to stay in your lane at all times. Like, and you gonna sit there and do that? Now, that mother, like you said, she's out here, she better treat her as if it was like her boyfriend or her husband cheated on her. Get some hot oats, get some oatmeal, get that ready to go. Go in that room, like I said, I got breakfast for you. I guarantee you he'll never raise his hand again.
I mean, think of it like this though. What's happening today, and I know we started sharing about that in like on previous show, but I want to like revisit this again. What I'm starting to see that I don't like is that parents becoming kids' friends.
Yeah.
We're not equal. Let's make that abundantly clear. We're not equal.
No, I'm not your friend.
I am the adult. You are the child. There's boundaries there. At the end of the day, I'm the authority figure in the household. I'm the disciplinary person in the household that must set the foundation of what it takes to raise up to be the best man, the best woman that God wants them to be. And to sit there and have this kind of abuse take place, it's just blasphemy. Christmas, and it's just insane to see how a mother allowed a 15-year-old child to beat her up. It's like, how?
That's
Why do you
crazy.
allow that?
It shouldn't even be allowed. Shouldn't be a thought.
No, not even.
Like I said, like we were saying before, like, it's just like I don't know. I can't fathom it. Like for me personally, I would never. But like you said, today's society is different from how we were brought up. Like,
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not the oldest dude around, but even still, with me, like it goes back to respect. Like nowadays, the government is sitting there telling kids that if your parents hit you, or you in a supermarket and you spank your kid, that's abuse. No, it's not abuse. That's discipline.
Right.
Discipline. My child just picked up some candy and just walked out of the store. Now I'm getting charged for larceny because my child knows thinks it's okay to grab whatever they want. We're not doing that.
Right.
And then you want me to hold my child accountable? They should know better. Yeah, let me whoop their ass so they know better.
Listen.
Right? It's simple.
But
now they know better.
Right. And you would think that off that alone, that they would learn to say, you know what? I ain't messing with daddy. He know that I don't play that game. What the government is doing is they're teaching kids contradictory and hypocrisy to say that if your parent puts their hands on you, call them. Listen, I remember growing up and my father said to me, yo, you pick up the phone, it'll be the last time you're gonna pick up that phone. If you ever about trying to call the cops.
But that's the same thing like with my grandmother. She crazy. Like she used to beat you with anything she could find. Like I remember me as a teenager. I made a mistake, called my mother a bitch at 15 years old. She went and grabbed the first knife she could find.
Wow.
And just started throwing knives at me.
Wow.
Cause she knew I was bigger than her, but she was like, I don't care how big you is. I'm still your mother. And I hauled ass. Out the back door, jumping fences.
I think what's lacking though is that there's no boundaries being set. There's no accountability put in place to say this is what you're gonna do, this is why you're gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna allow you to do, this is what I'm not gonna allow you to do, and this is why. There's no foundation, there's no structure, there's no consequences, both good and bad. And it's like, where's the value into raising that son or daughter to be the very best? Because if you let society do it, I'm telling you right now, they're gonna distort the entire truth about the value system between the parent and the child.
Sure that they break down minority structure in the household. Back in the day, you took the black man out the household, or the male, the father figures. Now kids are growing up with just their mother. Now you got the mother struggling. Right. Now you got those children growing up in the streets because they looking for comfort because their mother never home because she got to work 2-3 different jobs, and the father's in prison. Now what you're doing is that you're seeing that we're learning from these mistakes in the past, and we're trying to break that cycle. You're just coming up with another formula to still break that infrastructure in the house by telling the child to go against their parent. Come to me, I help you, I'll help you. You're not, you're helping destroy my. Now when that child goes and they sit there and send out parents into jail or prison for abusing their child, now what happens to that child? I came to you, now I'm in foster care. Now I'm bouncing from house to house. I don't have a stable environment to ever process and learn and better myself because I'm basically sitting here trying to find ways to protect myself because I don't know if I'm getting picked up and moving to this house next week, or if I'm gonna finally have a family that's gonna adopt me and actually treat me right. Right. All based off of what? Because you told this child to trust you and it was okay, so now you just took my parents away from me.
I think that one thing for sure that I never condone or ever advocate is child abuse. And everybody knows that I work with the youth for over 2 decades. I've never ever advocate for that because we know that happens, whether it's sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental, emotional negligence. That's all form of abuse. So I never advocate for that. In that same breath, there has to be a mutual respect, there has to be a mutual understanding, and there has to be love that has to be infiltrated from the time the child is birthed. Because I've always said this before, that no child ever asked to be born. So to sit there and penalize a child for what parents did as far as transgression, that's not the reflection of a child. The child's going to act on what they see as far as what they mimic, what they emulate, what they following. And if they're not seeing the example as far as how you need to teach, as far as educating and just highlight on the importance on what it takes to be the very best, all they're going to do is see chaos, and it's going to be mixed messages, confusion. Right, you're the primary caregiver. You're the primary person that immediate liaison that when they look to you, they want to look for that guidance. They want to look for that direction.
As the parent, you're the constant, you're the consistent figure in that child's life. Right. Because obviously every year that child's in school, they're going to a different grade, they get a different teacher. When you get to a certain level in high school, or you start in middle school, you're gonna have multiple teachers. So at the end of the day, you're the constant and consistent figure in that child.
Right.
Day in and day out. Even when they're in school, they still see mommy and daddy.
Right.
They're not gonna see their teacher in the summertime. Let's say in summer school.
Right. That's a whole different. That's a whole different conversation.
That means you didn't pay attention in school because I'm not paying them $250 for your ass to spend another 6 weeks in school.
Yeah. I think that's why it's so important to have a mother and a father there, because I want to commend, and I want to first say this. I want to commend, because you got fathers like him. He's a father. You have fathers that are actually there for their kids. And I commend you, brothers, for being a father, because this is a fatherless generation. Because I've been a father figure to a lot of kids who didn't grow up with dad. So I want to commend you, brothers, for actually stepping up and teaching your sons, especially sons, to be men, and teaching your kids to be the very best, and to teach them to be an asset liability. So I want to commend you guys, because there are guys out here that are fathers, that are husbands. So I want to commend y'all for that. So salute you guys for that. So I don't want this to be a whole, it's only one-sided. No,
not at all.
Right.
You gotta give credit when credit's due, regardless of who it is, whether it's a mother or the father, or both of them, grandmother, aunt, uncle, any grandfather.
Right.
I mean, whoever that person is, and that adult adult role model, salutes to you.
And the thing about it is that, let's just say for the sake of argument, there was no father there as far as the immediate father, as far as the kid's dad. But you have to have grandfathers, uncles, older brothers, cousins, time play that father figure type thing.
That come in.
Right.
There's some people I know that have no kids, and they raise literally other people's kids because the father was incarcerated, passed away, just didn't even care about the kids. Like I'm not taking care of them. I'm out. I want to do me and live my life.
Right.
And they took on that, they took ownership of that role and said, listen, I'm your father.
Right.
You call me what you want, but I'm your father. I'm taking care of you. I'm gonna teach you right from wrong.
I'll tell you like this though, as a high school counselor, I mean, it's been, and God is my witness, more than one occasion I've had kids talking about something about the struggles that they go through, as far as the growing up process, the changes, the challenges there, as far as the social aspects of things, decision making, as far as after high school, during high school years, and I'll speak to them like a father, to where at the end of those conversations they would say to me, thank you for being like a father to me, because I didn't go with a dad. And be honest, they need that.
You gave them, you instilled.
I gave them that hope.
You gave confidence to them and knowledge to help them, obviously view things differently now. So now they're gaining trust. You're boosting their confidence to the point where now they're like, wow, thank you, I appreciate that, because now I got a better outlook on life and how to move forward, because I don't have someone that I can go to or that will check me on things.
Right. Oh, they know I don't play that game. That's why they look at me as that figure to them, because although I wasn't there with them 24/7, but when they see me as that's that guy that I need to talk to, because he's gonna give it to me straight like a father would. Exactly. And I heard them confess that, say to me, man, he's like a father to me. And there was a time that when 3 kids said that to me while they left to go to class, I shed tears, because I'm like, man, I didn't think of it as, I'm thinking of myself as a counselor, just being a guiding tool to them, but to see that kind of impact, I'm like, man, I'm like, wow, God, thank you, man.
The message you convey to people, or you put out there, you don't know who's receiving that. And that's why I always tell people, even when I'm like, sometimes I be joking at work or whatever it is, I'll tell people to stop blocking my blessings.
Yeah, don't because you don't know what impact you have on a person that you come across to, and you know what? They are so vulnerable at that time, and you came in at the right time, that whatever it was that they going through, as far as the trauma, the challenges there, the complications, just the trials, you was filling that void for them without even trying to proclaim that entitlement, but just your actions and your commitment. They saw that and they respected it.
And they took it, they digested it in a positive way.
Right.
And that's the ultimate goal. Because me, I'm not that old, but a lot of people look at me as a big brother figure.
Right.
And when brother they have a big brother, sometimes they introduce me to their big brothers. Like, and their brother be like, you cool as hell.
Because I think what they see is that, and one of the key things that they see is that the investment that you put in to seeing that child grow, to graduate from high school, to have a life after high school, going to college, going to a trade school, having jobs, like really solidifying that foundation, that hope, that confidence, that love, that empowerment of rising above the occasion. Right.
And you're not sitting there trying to give them the easy way out. You're showing them, I mean, hard work does pay off eventually.
Right.
You know?
It all pays off, not in terms like finances as per se, but just the overall investment into helping that child build.
Finance, but also networking, because now that you just gave this person information, so now they can pass it on to somebody else as well.
And that information can be insightful.
Exactly. Yeah. You just help 3 people out. Those 3 people just can help, each one of them help 3 people out. Now that's 9 people. Now you're spreading. Now you just became a cancer that is actually positive.
The seeds, no, but think about that. The seeds has been planted because you know what? Once you share information to one person, now it becomes 2 because now they're passing it on. Now it becomes 4. Now it becomes 8. Now it becomes 16. So you see how it doubles? It multiplies because they seen the outcome of how beneficial it is, and seeing that the opportunity has been presented to where they're going to grow from that, they're going to take advantage of that, and they're going to build the foundation as far as a legacy. That's what these kids are aiming for, and they want to do the right thing, but they need to have that foundation from jump.
They need guidance, and that way you're providing that for them.
Right.
I mean, you're giving them something to do. Like obviously we all know I shoot pool here. I mean, I don't know every single person I play pool with their past and this, that, and the other is. Yeah. But guess what? They here drinking beer, shooting pool. They're not in the streets doing something they shouldn't be doing.
You know, I think a lot of times, you know, and one thing I miss about school is that school needs to be a learning institution and fun, with structure, with relevance, with opportunities to learn, and having committed people really devote that energy and time to invest into kids. Because like I said, at home, kids are not getting that love. They're not getting that conversation. They're not getting those strong prayer life. They're not getting the consistency. So, you know, for a lot of kids, they come to your point about baggages, like single parents home. I've seen kids who came from foster kids that's bouncing around. So this dysfunction in their mindset.
No,
you know what I mean?
They have no stability.
Right. There's no
structure, none of that.
It's very much unstable as far as not having that supporting system there. They don't have that supporting system there to really help them be guided and mold them and to really and maximize their full potential on what they good at.
Double checking them, because we all know right from wrong, but sometimes you can have that person that's in your corner that'll be like, listen, come on, you bugging, don't do that.
Right.
You right. Because they were thinking about it, and it was like, man, if nobody care about me, why should I care? Why should I care about what I'm doing? Because ain't nobody that's shown me yet they care about me.
I think what it is too is that people gotta be bold and courageous, because there are people that when the child does something wrong, they turn the other cheek and say, you know what, that's none of my business. That's not my problem. That's none of my business. But when you see someone doing wrong and you know, especially if you know the person, you're gonna step to them and intercede and say, listen, brother, sister, that's not the way to do that. Because you know what? You're going down a destructive path that you won't want your mother or your father wearing a black dress or a black suit burying you. You don't want that.
It's not worth it.
Make better decisions, make better choices, and have and right. As a matter of fact, the men's conference I had on Saturday was about being born with a purpose, about the book of Samson. What is your purpose? What is God's calling for you? What is your purpose for us? Who you are? Why you are? What are you doing here? What is the purpose that you're trying to achieve in your life?
Don't waste your time on this earth, I mean, doing bull.
Right.
Find ways to, I mean, like what we always say, is show love, spread love, I mean, stop hating all the time. Stop finding ways to nitpick at negative stuff, like about other people. Like we always talk about just learning from someone. You see somebody that's doing better in life, sit down and have like, yo, how'd you do this? Or what's your story? You know what I mean? How'd you get to where you at? And be supportive of one another, right?
Support their dreams, because you know what? Kids do have, even in spite of this whole social media era that's being infiltrated, they still have dreams as far as want to do something. Support the dreams. Yeah. Educate them on the dream. Let's connect. Let's create resources. Give them the tools that they need to succeed. Right.
That's what you need to do. Even if it starts off with something just like, yo, if you get a second, read this book. I mean, it was very insightful for me. Mm-hmm. You know, it might be something that I read or I came across that helped me gain patience. Yeah. You know, helped me gain humility. You know, just like listen to people. I mean, everyone's got a story, and it may not always apply to you, but what they tell you, you might be able to help someone else that's going through a situation.
Right.
Like this, you know, married couple right here can help me pass some on to this single man or this single woman.
Or a married couple that's going through struggles at the household.
Yeah, either way.
They could be an inspiration to say, look, you know what? This is how you got to create stability. This was working for us as per se, to give information, to be insightful. wisdom in that whole process, and what it comes down to is folks gotta listen. Just listen. Don't even talk. Sometimes people think they talk more, they know more. No, you don't know more. That's why God gave you 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen first and then talk. Listen so you can understand and process what is being effective for us, what's working, what doesn't work, and just straightening things out and doing things a little bit different than last time.
And use what the person is saying, I mean, to apply to your life. I mean, there's always opportunity to just learn and just pass knowledge. And not everything, you can make a negative or positive so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, because like we always say, you never know what someone's going through. Like someone can have issues going on at home, and just like you simply saying, yo, what's good? What you doing today? You want to have lunch? I got you. I'll get you lunch. You didn't know that person may not even have money in their pocket.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, yo, you get off of work, hey, you need a ride, or leaving a bar, or you leave any of that stuff, yo, you need a ride. You don't know if that person, like I said, don't have no money, or they trying to figure out how they gonna get home, what they gonna do. Like,
I've always said this, jeerz. If you want to understand somebody, walk around somebody's shoe.
Yeah.
I've always said that, and I stand by that, you know, to my deathbed. If you want to understand somebody and illuminate, walk around somebody's shoe. Understand what they're going through. And even if you was unaffected, let's just say for the simple fact of you was unaffected by that. But if you take that time to say, man, although I might not have been affected by that trauma or that trial, let me just put my feet in their shoes and just fathom what they're going through and be like, man, that could easily be me.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people don't think about that.
Yeah, because even with that being said, like, you know, you listen to that show, also that they're teaching you and give you this opportunity to sit there and basically learn from their mistake.
Right.
So now you know moving forward, if you ever was to be in that particular situation, you know how to move forward to get out of it.
Right.
As opposed to following those same footsteps.
No, what bugs me though is that you got people that make the same mistakes or keep making the same poor decision and expect a different outcome. How?
Yeah, that's like
that's an oxymoron. It's how.
Ain't they called like a psychopath or something? Like,
I call it an oxymoron because you know what? You can't do the same thing and expect a different outcome.
Exactly. Like you can't expect change without changing. It just does not make sense. Like, oh, I don't want to be late for work, but I'm gonna wake up at 9 o'clock every morning. No, I gotta be to work at 7.
Right.
Makes no sense. Right? And then you wonder why you lose your job. You 2 hours late every single time.
Hey.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, if it,
change the time you wake up.
Right. Maybe, or
you could keep your job.
Do 2 things. Either like adjust the time you need to go to bed so you can wake up at the appropriate. Get to work on time, or if it's like a medical issue, speak on that, and maybe they might adjust your schedule for that purpose. But you have to advocate on what's important.
Exactly. Open up and speak. You don't have to sit there and give a 100% of an explanation, but at the same time, it's all up to you. You cannot expect change if you don't change. It's like you get tired of like someone saying, "Oh, I'm tired of walking." Well, save your money and get a car. Just change what you're doing.
Right. I think
stop spending your money on stuff you don't need.
I think what it comes down to, jeerz, is that until folks value who they are, change will never come. So if you don't value who you are, how do you expect change?
Yeah.
Expect change when the first thing is acknowledge that something's wrong. Once you acknowledge that something's wrong with whatever it is you're doing that's going against the principles and going up against the value as far as what God instructs you to do or how you need to be as a person. If you're going up against that and you're seeing that you're failing miserably, hello, something has to be different.
Also,
say, okay, you know what? I need to orchestrate something a little bit different here because what I'm doing ain't working.
Because you're in control of you. You can't control nobody else. So if there's something going on in your life and someone, get rid of them. You don't got to be around them. No one's forcing you to be around someone that may be a cancer in your life, that may be toxic to you. Just don't surround yourself around that person. It's quite simple. You can remove yourself from any situation if you're uncomfortable about it. And if you're not benefiting, it's not helping you grow and be a better person, then what's the point of being around?
The thing about the thing about it is one thing you could do is you can encourage and say, man, bro, listen, you know what, man? Don't get high. You know what? You ain't gotta get high. You going to stress? Yo, let's work it out.
Or if you're gonna do that on your time. Now you're invading my space and my time, and I don't want to deal with that. Like we come to a bar, you always want to get pissy drunk and you sloppy and you can't even hold the pool stick and play pool. I don't want to deal with that.
Right, because that invites trouble.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, that invites trouble, and the thing is, especially nowadays, it could be even fatal. And I've seen people get killed over something as you getting pissy drunk. So the point is that, and I just wanted to say this, is that it's one thing to encourage and say, bro, don't get drunk. Yo, be smart, be wise. And if they choose not to listen, you're not gonna put me in that predicament because you want to be a school. That's your choice now. You're not gonna put me in harm's way because I got a family, I got mouths to feed. Nah, you're not gonna put me in that situation.
Because anything happen to me, you're not gonna sit there and stop by my house and sit there and check weak to my family.
You know,
It ain't happening.
yeah.
Like, because it just ain't gonna happen. So that's why I'm making sure
But
I'm
I think,
good.
but you know what? Though? I think.
Wish you the best of luck. Enjoy your day. Be safe. I'm out.
But I think at the end of the day, also too, is that it comes down to be wise as far as the kind of friends you're hanging around with, the kind of people you're hanging around with. Because, like I said, for me, it's not even about money as far as, you can have all the riches and being affluent. That don't mean nothing, because guess what? I've seen people that's affluent and they miserable. I've seen people who are dirt poor and have more value and decency, because it's all about elevation, because there's a hunger. So you want to be around people that's about elevating, connection, love, resources, and just building. If you're not trying to build, you're not trying to create this empire that's going to crumble, because guess what? If you're not building this foundation off bricks, miss what you're trying to build up, because you're not going to try to build off an empire of sand, because it's all going to melt down. It's gonna be evaporated. So you know what I mean? You gotta be around people that's about trying to build up and trying to reach and maximize your full potential and invest.
Push and inspire each other.
Right. And you bring out the best in each other.
Exactly.
You bring out the best in each other, as far as prosperity, as far as saying, you know what, man?
Set small goals. You know what I mean? Set small timelines. And you don't gotta sit there and say, I'm gonna be a millionaire in 6 months. No. You can't be a millionaire if you don't even got a job. Like, what are you gonna keep every little penny you get from your unemployment check, you gonna sit there and keep using it on scratch offs? Like, no.
No, you know what bugs me?
Find something that's consistent. Like, you over here, I'm saying have hope and pray and all that, but you literally praying on someone else you taking a chance all the time. I give you $20, you spend all $20 on scratch offs and want to play numbers.
No, well,
you done spent $1 million playing all these damn games.
You know what bugs me though? I've seen people with the little money they have, and I'm not trying to, I'm not knocking anybody. Anyone that's trying to build. Have a platform to build and figure things out. But what I see people do is that they'll sit there and buy a $500 pair of sneakers or some Jordans or whatever brand, but they ain't got $5 for pizza. Come on, man. You look like a fool, man. Like, come on, how stupid you look right now.
You spent all this money to get the latest pair of Jordans for your whole family, but y'all all on the bus.
I've seen this happen.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that to me is an oxymoron. It's like, dude, you're not making sense of what you're saying. How you sit there and spend $300 on a belt?
That's priorities.
But you ain't got,
because their mindset is not focused on their priorities.
Right.
Even like for example, everybody want to have. What blows my mind is that people go out and get the latest iPhone that just came out, or Galaxy, right? You spend $1,000 for this phone, but you sitting here running around trying to figure out how to pay your bills.
I was gonna get to that point.
You can find $1,000 to pay for a new phone, but you don't got $1,000 to pay your rent.
Listen, that $1,000. Listen, that $1,000 easily can go into buying a car. As far as that if you need a ride to get around, that's an easy foundation. That's $1,000 you can save and say, I'm gonna use that money to save to build a house. But to sit there and buy your phone, but you ain't got $1 to buy a bottle of water, that's embarrassing. It's like you look silly.
But then they break the damn phone and gotta sit there and work even hard.
The screen be cracking.
The Apple phone's all glass.
The screen be cracking. That's like another $300. Man, I need to stop that.
You press the Safari button and screen shattering.
No,
now you gotta go buy another $400. You sitting here like, I gotta get my phone fixed. Nah, bruh.
No, I seen this happen. This bugged me out in New York. I don't know if you heard this one. This was like 2 years ago. This girl had a new iPhone, and the phone fell on the train tracks. And I'm not gonna wish harm. I don't ever wish harm or negativity bad upon anybody. But I just thought this was senseless in this regard. And I might get flack for it, but I'm gonna speak from the heart. This girl dropped a new iPhone. It fell on the train tracks in Queens on Woodhaven Boulevard. She went down to go get the phone, and I'm like, so the phone had more value than your life. She went down to go get the phone, and the train ran her over. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like my heart bleeds for the family. I'm like, man, that's travesty. I'm like, your life is that less over a phone?
So I feel bad for that, but then also I look at the family like, what did you teach her growing up? Like, I'm sorry.
Again, it goes back to that. But see, if you think about that, if you're thinking about what we're saying, as far as what we're conveying, it all goes back to what is the foundation in the household that you live in.
You're putting
where's your
electronic device before your own self.
Right. Where's the foundation at the household? What values are you teaching kids? And have you ever thought about teaching your kids about, like, you know what? The things that you need, you're going to get because it's a necessity. But what you want, you got to earn it by doing well in school. You got to earn it by making sure that you're doing your chores. And not because you're going to get something, but I'm just saying, like, there has to be a benchmark to earn something. And then once you reach that benchmark, continue to set more goals that's attainable. And don't be afraid to think big. Think big. Dream big.
But
you know what I mean?
Make sure you put yourself in a position to also accomplish those things. You can't sit there, like I said, it's changing. One of the things you can't sit there and expect to, you know, establish yourself and have your own business if you ain't doing nothing to even put yourself out there. You're not networking with nobody. You're not even trying to contact the proper avenues to, you know, get maybe a fund or a grant or even get you a job just to help you stack money so you could go to a bank for a business loan and you could have something to put on top of that. I mean, you can't expect change if you don't change. You got to do something to put yourself in the right direction.
And what it comes down to is, it goes back to what I said earlier. If folks don't value who they are, how is change going to come? And in order for that change to come, value who you are. Think about who are you? What is your standpoint? What is your representation? What gifts that you bring to the table? What can you do to be an asset, not a liability? What can you do to make the world a better place in a world that's crooked? All right, a world that's full of troubles and sorrows. What can you do to be a difference maker? And I think what it comes down to is, to your point of investing on each other to help build, connect, network, advocate on what's important. Don't sit there and advocate on something that's senseless, because this is what bugs me out. I've seen people argue with each other about something that's minute. And they act like, you know, Mustafa of Lion King acting all tough and big amongst each other. But when it comes down to fighting for what's important, that's impacting your life, now you're going to turn to Simba, the cub?
Well, that's the thing.
Come on, man. I need to stop that foolishness, man.
People, like, we can use as an example. We use sports as an example.
Yeah.
You know, you a diehard fan, this, that, and the other, but I tell people all the time, like, I know my team sucks. I'm a Jets fan. And it is what it is. Like, I've been dealing with this since '87, so I'm used to it. But at the end of the day, it's like, people get mad, like, oh, your team sucks. I know they do, clearly. The whole country and the world knows this. At the end of the day, though, by you going out and coming here wearing whatever jersey you represent, your team that you represent, and that franchise or organization don't send you $1,000 check to sit there and support them.
Yeah.
You kicking out money to support them. I don't get paid to be a Jets fan, so I'm not mad if they suck or they good. If they good, cool. Like, I got my team good this year.
I've seen this happen. Now check this out. I've seen this happen where I've seen people get into arguments about sports to where they stop being friends or there's beef. I'm like, for what? Like, they're not putting money in your pocket. Like,
they don't pay me to root for these teams.
Right.
Like, they don't sit there and be like,
you're putting money into their pocket by going to their stadiums and going to their arenas and shit.
They're not going to say, here go $500. Now, I mean, I'm going to make sure you get a front row seat or the end zone seat. I'm going to also make sure you get hot dogs, you get a pitcher of beer, and what else you want? You want a soda and popcorn? Okay, I'm going to make sure you get that, and we're going to throw in a jersey and a half for you. All right, so you good. So just come on down to the stadium. They don't do that. Like, I don't get no perks or like any incentives to be a sports fan. Like, it's just something to do to kill time. Because it's entertainment. It's entertainment.
But why not use that energy for something more productive? Like, people arguing about who's the GOAT, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Like, why are you arguing about that? What does it matter?
They don't pay me.
They're not paying me. They're not putting you in my pocket.
Sit there and say that if you want my opinion, or you my opinion.
But I'm saying,
I'm not going to argue with you about, oh, why you think that? Look at this stats. And this and I don't want to look at that.
No, put your energy on something that's more important, like the social justices. What can we do as a community to raise attention to say, man, I see a lot of people of color getting killed disproportionately. We need to rise up against that. Man, I see people out there that not getting gainful employment. Let's help create jobs. That's the energy you need to have.
I was just watching on Netflix. They got a show that just came out. I don't know if anybody's seen it or anything. It's called Trial 4. About this dude, Sean Ellis, out in Boston. He got for a police murder that he did not commit nothing, wasted 22 years of his life, all because, and most of, at least easily probably like 9 or 10 of those years was just him waiting for the system to hand over the paperwork to his lawyer. So this guy has literally spent more than half his life in prison for a crime he didn't commit, all because the police just wanted, because the cops that were involved were all corrupt, and they wanted to cover up their corrupt doings, so they wanted to just find somebody to solve the case as fast as possible, when all the other facts and evidence that they had, they just want to throw to the side. And it's crazy. It's like they got all this information of people saying that, no, this is the person who did it. We know this person did it. This person admitted and said they did it, but they looking like, nah, we're not going to do that. And then not only that, you charge 2 people because he had a co-defendant for a murder that one person did. And neither one of them were the ones that committed it.
You know what it reminded me of? Now, this is back in New York. It reminded me of the exonerated Central Park 5. Yeah. I was 12. As God is my witness, I was 12, and I remember reading that article about what happened for the whole event, as far as how 5 brothers were accused of raping a woman that they didn't even do, and the cops coerced and they lied to, and the fact that they didn't have representation to advocate until they went to the system. There was babies. There was, that's what I'm saying. There was minors. But I'm saying is that
like, this is you said talking to all these kids late night, without their adults.
But my point is that this is what we have to continue to teach our young people is about. These are things we need to know about. The law enforcement. We need to teach kids about what are your rights. We need to teach kids about standing up for what's right.
What your like you said, what your rights are, and learn the system. Stop sitting there being so quick to want to sit and listen to the latest album that just came out. That album ain't gonna set you free if you ever get hit with in a situation or a jam. Because I mean, if you sit there and there's so many people that do educate themselves on the system, and I guarantee you, a cop walk up to them and they sit there and curse a cop out, and a cop just walk away because they don't even know the information. They just like, damn, I didn't even know that. So okay, I'm not gonna bother this brother. And they out. Like, what can I do? He just told me what to do. He just told me he gonna arrest me. How the hell is a citizen arrest? That's actual real thing.
And I think what's missing in that, what you were saying about what I was saying earlier, was that I think what's missing is that there's no community togetherness. There is no community togetherness.
We only support each other when it's from the sun.
Gap. There's a gap.
But that's the thing. It's only when there's like a injustice in someone's community, then all of a sudden we want to band together. Like,
it should never only be. It should never only be.
Like we understand, okay, the whole, the life of George Floyd, he lost his life and that whole situation. And then it's like all across every urban city across the country, everybody was putting Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Where's Black Lives Matter at? Why do we have to wait till someone lose their life just to keep the conversation going? The conversation should not die out. There should never be a moment where we have to sit there and be quiet over someone losing their life, male or female. That shit's ridiculous and it's not cool.
And it's not just keep the conversation going. No, let's have solutions. What it comes down to is let's find solutions to orchestrate a way to address it in a way that's not going to be destructive. It's going to be productive, but really hone in on what we need to focus in on in itself.
Let's focus on let's start off like with something simple. Let's start off our top 3 issues that we may have in that community or area, and that's what we're going to address with the police. And then once those issues are solved, then we'll move on to step 2, where we give you another set of issues that we want to work on and bring to your attention, and just keep on going forward. You guys obviously it's baby steps, but you don't just stop out of nowhere. You got to take steps to progress. You got to keep on going. You got to keep on that conversation going. No one likes to have that uncomfortable conversation, but let's speak on that.
But it has to be uncomfortable.
It has to be, because my son might lose his life. My brother might lose his life.
Do you realize that? Do you realize that Frederick Douglass said that without struggle there's no progress? So if the conversation is not uncomfortable, then that means everything's okay, and we know it's not okay. But it's our job to love each other, to educate each other. It starts with us, and then really bring forth the attention to what needs to be spoken of, and bring about solutions. Say, okay, to your point, these are the top 3 areas that's been concerning to our community. Let's address it. Let's take one and let's just lay out the blueprint. Let's make these moves. Let's orchestrate a game plan that's going to be effective. And then once we knock that out, okay, let's go on to the next. Because that's how you see progression. And it's going to be very uncomfortable, but guess what? Without any struggle, there's no progress. That's what Frederick Douglass said.
We're going to make it uncomfortable until we all are comfortable with the fact that killing innocent people is not okay.
It's not. It's not. And listen, with that being said, listen, man, time be going by so fast, and we just been dropping jewels and speaking and talking, but I just want to let you guys know to humbly, once again, please subscribe to UDR Productions Go Love Team.
Better subscribe. I'm gonna come find you. Subscribe. I'm gonna come get you. I'm gonna come get you. I'm gonna take your phone.
Listen, you're never going to go wrong when you subscribe to our channel. You're never going to go wrong when you subscribe to our channel. Check out UDR's Productions Go Love Team. Support your boy MVP, Most Valuable Part, being politically correct show. Support jeerz. Listen, man, we just bringing perspective to what's going on and really being about solutions. So with that being said, we love you guys. God bless you guys. We're going to go ahead again till next time. Out. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Growth and prosperity. Y'all know. Yes, sir. I love having an uncomfortable conversation.
Absolutely. We got to. We got to.
They just put people on edge and they be like,
they're going to be like, how can they say that? Don't say that. No, we're going to say that. We have to say it.
Because it's okay for you to say what you want to say.
So we're going to say what we need to say. But we got to be responsible.
You have your opinion, and there's nothing wrong with agreeing to disagree. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, what you're entitled to is an opinion. What you're not entitled to is a fact.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, y'all. Yes, indeed. Welcome to UDR Productions. Please like, subscribe, and share. It doesn't cost you nothing to subscribe, so we can keep bringing you guys all this good content from prayer to streets. UDR Productions. Let's go and let's get it.